Hi, welcome to another episode of Story Time with Ms. B. We've got a good story today. I've got Teddy, the Storytime Bear, waiting for this story. It's a classic. That means it's been around for a little while. Probably about as long as Ms. B has been around, which hasn't been too long. It's a great classic. It's called Where the Wild Things Are. Story and pictures by Maurice Sendak. It's an adventure, a reading adventure that you're going to love. Let's go. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." "Now stop," Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No, The wild things roared their terrible roars, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. And sailed back over a year, and in and out of weeks, and through a day. And into the night of his very own room, where he found supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. The end. Wasn't that a cool story? Oh my goodness, Max went on quite an adventure, didn't he? And he missed his home so much. Remember, he smelled something good when he was in the forest. And that made him think of home and his room and his bed. Now, I want you to see something really cool. This is the front cover. This is the front cover. This is the back. Now, look what happens when we open it up. Whoa! Look at that view. Do you remember what this is called? Not the middle of the book. It's called the spine. When you close it like this, it's kind of harder, but this is called the spine of the book. Usually on the spine of the book, you'll see the title of the book and the author and the people who published the book. In this case, it's Scholastic. Sometimes your book fairs at school are sponsored by Scholastic. So when you have a book fair at school, be sure to let your mom, dad, grandmother, grandpa know, I got to go, I must go to the book fair. Scholastic usually sponsors those. All right, so we got that in there. Listen, that was such a fun time and a fun adventure. See how reading can be fun and exciting and an adventure? We didn't know what was going to happen to Max. But look, he became the king of the wild things. And the wild things didn't want him to go. They were enjoying him so much. But when Max sent them off to bed without any supper, remember, that sounded familiar, didn't it? Because Max's mother sent him to bed without any supper when he said, I'll eat you up. And she must have thought, I don't think so. And that's when he went off to bed without any supper. So when we relate that to when Max sent the animals, the monsters, the wild things off to supper, he got kind of lonely. And I bet that made him think about his own situation of when his mother sent him to bed without any supper. So in that, we learned about reading comprehension and how we can relate to the story. That's why we have to pay attention. When someone's reading you a story, or even when you're reading a story, pay attention to every little detail in the story. Did you notice that Max did not get afraid? No, he didn't. And remember in the beginning of our story, when he put on his little wolf costume, he was ready to get into some mischief. Look what he was doing. He looks like he was making a tent out of a sheet. He was hanging up his animals on a hanger. Look at all the details. And then watch what happened. He was running down the steps with a fork in his hand, chasing his dog. He was busy. He was up to a lot of things. And that's when his mom said, you're a wild thing. And Max said in his wolf suit, I'll eat you up. So then he went to bed without any supper. Oh, wasn't that fun? So that's how reading is exciting. You get to see a lot of things, and when you look at the pictures, it makes you think in your mind, using your imagination to travel to a place with Max, like he did in his sailboat. All right, that's all the time we have today. I didn't want to keep you too long, and Teddy was waiting on you. So we hope you enjoyed the story. Hope you have your library card. It's almost summer reading program time. Remember last year we were reminding you to get your library card because the children's section of the library is waiting for you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the story. Remember to pay attention in class and listen to your teacher. Don't rush when you do your work, and you will be fine. See you next time.